just realized I was supposed to do an intro thing, and sorry.
I thought we were gonna have Tori intro thing.
That's what I thought. He just he's focused on the buttons. He's focused on the buttons.
Focus on the buttons, man. We were supposed to make this like mysterious. Mysterious, man. We needed some mystique. What's up, everybody? Here, I'll do the intro. Welcome, everybody, to Where's Your Heart, where we champion courageous vulnerability as a core human strength. I am here with my loved ones, my people, my friends, Teresa Robinson, the man 20 grand, the Royce. Torian Online is back in the building, and it is a pleasure to be here.
This is so nice.
To chop it up with our people together as one, especially on today, because it is MLK Day, so we have a lot of things we want to talk about and a lot of things to celebrate. So, yeah, man, how y'all feeling?
Very good today.
Feeling
good day today. Yes.
What's up, Royce? How you feeling, man?
I still think today is when I should just do this show with duct tape on my mouth. Like, like let's do MLK Day right. Silence the fucking white man.
Listen.
Yes, we got to teach Royce that, we ourselves have our comfortable white voices that we use when it comes to work.
Okay, but I've known about the concept and I've heard friends do it before. Get that, but until the two of you like white voiced the shit out of stuff today, I had never heard y'all's. I literally had never heard your
code switching is real, bro.
Yes. Real. So Torian, does your voice have a name?
No, it's just the other Torian. It's the more articulate Torian. So I make sure.
See, mine is Susan. My voice is Susan. Anytime I want to use that comfortable voice so that people feel like they're in the right space, it's Susan. Other than that, I'm just Teresa.
I got you.
Oh my god.
So listen. So here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Fuck y'all.
But it's a real thing, and I guarantee you,
it's a survival mechanism. I'm not critiquing it. I just
there's a lot of our listeners and our viewers that are like, yeah, we do this every day. I mean, this is what we have to do. But I will say this though. So right now, I'm going to say we have 80 viewers right now, right? And so one of the things that we need the 80 viewers that we have to do right now is to make sure that you like. And that you share the content that we have right now on Where's Your Heart, where we champion vulnerability as a core.
And right after you do that, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification button so you know every time the show is coming on.
We appreciate it because it's a community. We're all a part of this, so we're all sharing this space.
And please do YouTube and share it out to any of the other social media spots that you're on. I do see Zenda already saying hi.
Yeah.
I love it. Good to see you, my friend.
Hello.
Zenda. Represent.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. It's just so cool to have Torian on screen. I'm just telling you.
Listen, I'm happy that you guys didn't fire me.
Really? Is this how this works?
I'm happy that I didn't fire. That I have more than one job now, and I'm also really happy. I'm feeling really good because I got on my little zoot suit, man. I'm rocking my thing.
He was rocking that whole 70s thing, so I thought I put on my gong earrings. I thought I worked that.
Hey,
and then there's
good,
Royce,
sister. You looking good with the camera. You looking good. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Me, I'm just looking shaggy. That's I'm looking COVID shaggy. That's what I'm doing.
See, that's when Scooby-Doo came out in the 70s. We're all working our thing. We're all working it.
And we got Sarah. She's chiming in. She's waving in. She's saying hello.
Hello, Sarah.
Do a quick shout out. She's like, "What's up, Torian? Good to have you back for today."
Yes.
Thank you very much for letting me share the space with you all. I really appreciate it. It's
Absolutely.
an honor. It's a pleasure, man. That's why I make sure we share, make sure we get the word out because, we just came out of 2020. We're in 2021. And a lot of us thought that a lot of things were going to magically change. I think we're finding out that that's not how it works. So we have to make sure that we're holding and sharing and creating space like this and passing the word on because it's that important, man. We have a long way to go before we get back to some level of comfortable, even with the new norm. And especially this week. I mean, we got a lot happening this week too. So we got to make sure that we're cognizant of that.
Yeah.
Yo, before we get diving into what happened last week, we got to go ahead and give some gratitude for this week.
Oh, and you know I'm a little
Yeah.
rusty. Hold on a second. So
Yeah.
I got the production quality. Here we go. Gratitude, guys.
Boo.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Our
forgot.
gratitude.
You're just doing the sound effect manually. Is this what's going
That's
on?
what we do. That's it. I'll just say boop.
So, boop, we done. So definitely gratitude.
Oh my gosh, this is beautiful.
Okay, so Torian, since you are back on the screen for this week, I would like you to go first to give your
Wow.
gratitude.
Gratitude. Okay. A just in time, honest answer. I am very grateful for our frontline healthcare workers and those
Mm.
people that are working and have been working diligently to take care of those people who are sick in any way, but specifically during the pandemic with COVID-19. Um, I had a firsthand experience over the past few weeks around their level of response, their level of care under high stress
Mm.
situations, and just being able to take care of people that I know that have any type of affliction, and just to be able to see that and see the consistency that they have to do it with day in and day
Yeah.
out. I truly appreciate that, and I just want to say thank you. So for any healthcare workers, any of our COVID-19 heroes that are listening, thank you so much. I'm
Yeah.
very grateful for you.
I think that's
Absolutely.
a really good gratitude right there.
Yeah.
And they
Zenda
still,
nailed it over there.
they're going to be
Check
working
it.
hard for a while.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll pass it to my left, which is that way. Where's the camera? Is that
Damn,
way.
is that shoot?
That's you.
That's you.
I
I'm
was like,
poking you. I'm poking you.
did you mean this way?
I'm in this way, but I'm poking you.
Yeah, okay, fine. I would have to say my gratitude this week is family. Me following the rules of traveling and coming back and having to take that time to a sense quarantine yourself. I have not physically seen my kids in 2 weeks, so
Mm.
I got to see them again today. And even though there are still those moments where
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
so happy to see them. Still happy to see them. Love them. I love my children. So yes, I am. I'm grateful. Grateful for my family and getting to see them, and just taking in the time I can to. I feel like sometimes I just look at them and I blink and they're getting taller or older, or I mean, just changing before my eyes. So I'm trying to take in every moment at this point
Mm.
because it seems to be going faster every moment that I have.
Mm. Yeah.
Nice. That's good.
That's.
Good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mr. Royce, what's your gratitude for this week?
So it's weird because I'm sitting here going, the list is really long for me right now because it's like it's zoot suits and earrings. We got it. Like, come on, I gotta say that. I know there's a vibe today for the three of us. It just felt really good, and I love you too. And I've missed this, and so I'm really really grateful for this. I'm also sitting with. I finished a bunch of work last week on my application for the PhD program, and while doing that, I hadn't been getting to edit my book, and brought on an additional editor, and he asked me to read the prologue to Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison, which I thought I'd read portions of back in grad school, but I don't think I did. Reading the voice, I'm like, I don't remember this. So it was incredible, but then also it like gave rise to all this stuff. And so there was creative space today. And so I had just sit and write and so I'm just grateful for all that. Like that's it's amazing to be in a place where one bit of creativity leads to the next and just pushes things forward. And yeah, this show is a big part of it. Working with y'all and our audience. I don't know if y'all saw the comment by Zendo over there when you were talking about the frontline healthcare workers, but that's like there it is. Thank you guys.
Absolutely.
It's love.
Yeah, I've lost 2 friends in the last month who were my age, one to COVID and one to heart disease. So yeah, how on earth giving and receiving care right now, it's beyond me. So
So please wear your mask.
Yeah.
Please wear your
just
mask.
fucking wear the goddamn mask. Yeah.
And Sarah says that you also cut me and my daughter's hair. So she's grateful for that.
You cut their
Okay.
hair.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that was so much fun. I'm grateful for getting to do that because it messed with me today. Because the last time I'd cut my spouse's hair, it was 20 years ago. The kid's mom's their birth mom, her, and we were in serious poverty at the time, which is why I was cutting her hair. Like, and so it brought up all this crazy shit for me and the connection to my mom who used to cut our hair when we were young and poor. And then also today I realized also the connection with my grandmother who was a professional hair person. Like he cut hair for a living. People would fly up from LA and he would cut their hair before the Grammys or Emmys and they would fly down for the red like that. And so it's just this
Wow.
lineage and connection for me because for me it's always about been busting the kind of masculinity that was projected on me and exercising something that I have been taught society is more feminine and inappropriate for me to do. So it brought up a whole bunch of amazing cool shit. So yeah, that's what I mean. Like gratitude for really cool stuff.
Nice.
That's awesome. And please, everyone that's out there, thank you once again for tuning in. Feel free to share what you're grateful for this week. We do this every week. It'd be great to know what you guys are grateful for
Oh
this week.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
we could start
Did
doing
y'all
that
like
with
that?
our audience.
That's right.
Yes.
Listen, we're
You,
changing the
Teresa.
production game, guys.
Yeah,
So this
yeah.
is why you got to pass the word. This is why
Oh,
you have to pass the word for where's your heart.
oh,
Exactly. Did you like that? You liked?
I
I
like
know.
that.
I
I can
like
tell.
That was
this.
beautiful. That was
I
beautiful.
know.
That was a
I
great
like this.
transition. It was almost as good of a transition as this. Oh, last week now, I had to throw that in there. Ta-da!
Yeah.
Well, I'm just excited
Royce.
to be pushing buttons right now. I think.
Oh my god, this is magic.
See, unlike last week where we kind of thought about what we were going to talk about. So, gosh, what do we have going on last week that we're going to talk about now?
Well, it's because the whole thing's been such a fog of trauma. Like we have fucking Nazis storming the U.S. Capitol. Let's be clear.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it seemed quiet. Am I missing something? Was there something that happened last week that I mean? Because honestly, I've kind of made it a rule that I don't pay attention to anything going on with he who should not be named. He's a new he's a new Voldemort. So I just don't
I mean, the nose is
acknowledge
about as fucked up. So
anything happens. Yeah. So I'm kind of like it feels like last week's news cycle there was a lot of stuff that seemed I don't know. It seemed uplifting. Although I have to say it was interesting to see. I know it's not last week now, but just the fact that with Biden and Harris kind of starting their, their kind of starting their process of becoming VP and president, they're doing things for communities. I just saw that Harris is part of, she was helping with bagging food for the needy to get out food for communities. And I just thought to myself, wow, like, what a change. Like, I'm so excited that this is what we're going to see more of for heading into these next 4 years. At least this is what I want to keep seeing. So, I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting that the movement of this new administration is starting to take place because I really needed the empathy. I really needed our leaders to get back to being humble, the sense of being humble, and I feel like we've missed that. So I'm excited to see it.
So Sarah had an interesting comment on that.
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Increased security because they were
Folks in
credible
several
threats.
jobs, mine included,
Wow.
had to increase security because there were credible threats from right-wing terrorist groups and send stuff. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, so like for me, when I think about last week, that's what I've been thinking about. What I've been thinking about is how for me as a native Black American, how there's this increased threat, and how I've had people kind of reaching out to me to make sure that hey, as we move into this week, that I am okay. Like I've gotten messages from people like, hey, make sure you limit your time out in the street. Don't go to the store if you don't have to.
Man.
So I'm like, man, imagine that we're in 2021. I'm a healthy, fairly well resourced human being, and I'm still receiving messages as if I'm going to be lynched if I go outside because of this, the inauguration or how people may feel about the
Because
inauguration.
some dumb motherfuckers erected a gallows on the Capitol grounds.
But everybody wants to ignore that. It's amazing that the image was put in the press, and you didn't see much of it. You didn't see people talking about it, and even still, like, yeah, it's saddening. It's saddening that you have your friends contacting you saying, "Hey, by the way, just be careful going out." Like, it should not be like this. This should not be the theme of in 2021. It just shouldn't. And yeah, the fact that now they're beefing up security just for the inauguration it's a little frightening. It's
25,000 troops.
How many
Yep.
troops?
25,000 National Guard troops.
I don't watch
So
the news,
far.
so I didn't know the specific. I mean, I've seen
Yeah,
flashes, but
you will have a happier. I almost feel like you have a much happier, less stressful life if you don't watch the news.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
That's
I
fair.
mean, just watching. I think the thing that probably was the most upsetting is just hearing the chants of "This is my country, this is our country,
Oh, God.
our country," and I'm just like, do you realize how that's I'm just. But then people always question, like, I don't understand why they did what's so wrong. I mean, they were letting their voices be heard, and I'm just kind of like, you got to look a little bit further than that. But that's just me. I just the whole topic is just interesting to me. So I'm hoping that there's more discussion about it, because I think there needs to be.
I'm popping off because, like, the notion that these people are under threat when it's Black Americans who are dying at massively disproportionate rates to police, to COVID, to list anything after that. Like, you aren't even beginning to be under threat. We're just asking that you be like everybody else, motherfucker. Like, that's all we're fucking asking for. So here's mine. Like, first off, it's MLK Day, so I feel like my favorite MLK quote, as much as I love the "I Have a Dream" speech, my favorite MLK quote is actually from his letter from a Birmingham jail, and it's I should actually know this by rote, but I don't anymore. But it's the biggest stumbling block to the movement is actually the white moderate, people who are more interested in peace than they are in justice. And that for me haunts me. That phrase haunts me because I know that as people, we are inclined to like our brains, our dopamine centers, we are constructed to keep things the same. As long as we have food, water, shelter, and meaningful social interaction, we're not going to change shit. And so for the white population, who this whole thing was quote unquote working for, theoretically, we've been convinced it was working for us, and it wasn't. But we've been convinced it was. That part of the brain inhibits change. And so, so I'm sitting with that. I'm sitting with January 6th and the fact that January 6th, these Nazi pieces of shit that are the same motherfuckers that stole Red Pill, the notion of the Red Pill from Matrix, which is supposed to wake us up, which is supposed to be about advancing the cause of humanity in the face of our obliteration. But they're not, I mean, so part of me compassionately wants to say, so what in their world constructs their world such that they believe that they are actually under threat? Because we know that they're not. So part of me wants to respond compassionately. Another part of me just wants to fucking end this shit, because what they're actually doing is taking the fucking blue pill because they want to go back to sleep to a time when power over people was just fine. Back to a time when it's power over people. It's back to a time when they could believe that their economic system was quote unquote fair. Back to a time when individual person or individual responsibility or the rugged individual was all that mattered. And those three things are the problem with this country. They're behind sexism, they're behind homophobia, they're behind racism, they're behind all of it because they are power structures that underpin all of this shit. That's the stuff that taking the red pill means we're going to deal with. And it's a lot easier to take the blue pill. But I don't know why we're surprised. Like, these are the same people that think that they were cheated out of an election when they've been cheating legally, quote unquote, legally for years by redrawing districts, by disenfranchising people. Like, we saw it before the 2000 elections. That hanging Chad's shit should never have mattered because there were 300,000 not majority, 80% of 300,000 people who were disenfranchised in the months leading up to the 2000 election. 80% of them were Black Floridians. So let's be really fucking clear about which party has it in their benefit to disenfranchise people. It's not the fucking Democrats. As I've got other gripes with the Democrats, but at this point, but this is the way we lie about what's really happening when we are doing the thing we are accusing the other of. So anyway, that's my.
You're like
Tell us how you really feel.
rants. Royce rant. But I mean, really, it comes down to, I almost feel like that whole notion of, how people don't like change. Change is always hard. I mean, this is a sure sign of that, and we'll see it just with when somebody loses that whole sense of like. I mean, I still find it funny that whole they're going to take our guns thing is a thing, but it's that whole notion of change and fear, and when you let that control you and think that it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to be so scared and this is what's going to happen because of it. It's like, just take a breath. Like, I mean, it's like people just need to take a breath more. But I mean, if anything, I'm hoping that a lot of the things that have been explored this past year, that people really acknowledge and take the time to even, go further with it. That's one thing I'm kind of looking forward to, is that, those that, it was like the quote that I put up from Martin Luther King of, the time is always right to do what's right. So it's not about that moment that everybody joined in and took that opportunity. Like, that's a fight that's going to have to continue
in a million little fights every
day.
I mean, that's the challenge, I think, that's in front of us. Is it's going to be so much easier to take the blue pill and go back to sleep as a nation, thinking that the threat has passed. The threat has not passed. It is worse than ever. And it's not in just the Nazis that stormed the Capitol. It's in us, because we let it happen.
And I also have to say, like, I kind of feel like it's easy to make this a political sides issue, Republican versus Democrat. I honestly feel like we have to take more responsibility. We, as American citizens, need to take more responsibility in who we put in that place and how we help the communities and voicing when things are wrong. I mean, I think we've seen it. We've gotten into this notion that, okay, well, I voted for that person. They're just going to do what they need to do, and I'll just sit back and I'm sure it'll be okay.
I mean, that's the danger of the republic. That's the danger of the republic, as opposed to direct democracy.
Well, I almost feel like that, and that's kind of how I'm feeling. I'm like, it's easy to say, it's because of this party or this party. We as people need to take responsibility of our own shit. And if we're going to vote somebody into office, we should be taking the time to make sure they're doing what they said they're going to do. So even now that we have Biden and Harris in the White House, we need to make sure that all the things we liked about why they got elected is being done. We can't assume that it is. We need to work and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to. And if they're not, we need to voice that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that's the real danger, and I think that's what Dr. King was trying to say as well, which is we really are in danger as a country when people become so where it becomes so passive that there's a high level of apathy, and apathy becomes the norm. It's kind of like, hey, I've done my duty, I've voted, my candidate won, they didn't win, and I'm going to let them do their thing, whether it's the people who I did support and now they need to do their job, or I don't support them at all, therefore I'm going to completely disengage. And that's always my question with people, regardless of, the red, blue, or, green, whatever colors they want to sport, is how are you actively a part of modeling and being a part of progression and change, and the phrase that I always go back to, which is liberty and justice for all. Because to me, it's about the pursuit of, here are high ideals, and we should not stop collectively working toward them until we achieve them. Whether we think they're possible or not, that's what it's supposed to always be about. And that's where I have a gripe with people when it's like, okay, it's their turn, whatever that means to people.
I think Sean has it right. You have to be involved in the political system. Voting is not enough. It doesn't end when you vote. And in fact, I remind people right now, we voted on president and vice president. We still have another 2 years. Like, please don't think that our next time of thinking of who we're putting is 4 years from now. It is 2 years from now. And those are the people that decide laws and how how stuff is going to happen in government. So please take the opportunity to learn more about the people that are going to be running in the next 2 years.
And,
Don't wait until 4.
Shout out to Sean, by the way, too.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I haven't seen that name. Shout out to Sean, man. We appreciate the viewership. One of our past guests. Please go back to last season. Check out the show. Check out everything that he's doing.
Walks with Sean.
Yes, Walks with Sean.
Beautiful, man.
Come to your town.
I remember about being neighbors. I use that, Sean, so I give you credit for it as well. But just being a good neighbor, because we're all neighbors at some point in our lives. I mean, I think that's such a powerful thing, man. So check out the work that he's doing, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And it oh, where'd it go? I had a thought. It was actually pertinent too. Oh no! Oh well, okay. So no, it was like, because one of the record the things on record that I'm most concerned about with the Biden-Harris ticket is both of them have been absolute shit about crime reform. And if there's something that we know has been horribly detrimental to the Black community and to many different communities of color in this country, it's the notion of crime and punishment. And we have two people who have been elected with what they feel is a national mandate because they have the House and Senate behind them. So if we don't fucking watch that topic, it's going to get fuckered, and people will continue to get to make money off legal slavery in this country. So
this is what I was talking about, the fact that it's like, please do not leave it up to bite us.
Yeah.
I'm sure some people are thinking like, well, that was in the past and they probably have to. No, you need to make sure that if that's something you are passionate, that you really want to see that change, because it does need to change. You need to make sure that your political leaders are making that change, because it does and needs to change.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Government and it's of the money, by the money, for the money. It doesn't matter whether it's red or blue.
Exactly.
And it's interesting because this really takes us into our topic for today.
Oh, yes. Look at that transition.
What's up? Hey, man, the production skills, man. I'm trying to up my game.
We are very late. Our guests are wonderful, patient humans.
Yes, I saw that. That's why I was like, we got to get going, because we are late. We are late for sure. So as we talk about that, right, like, what does it actually mean? Well, from a political standpoint, what does it mean to be successful politically? But really, as we talk about contributors to the larger society and to the world, like, what does success mean? So this is what the wonderful guests that we have today are going to kind of talk about and frame it in their experience, and how it applies to not only their experience, but things that they would like to share that will tangibly help others navigate how they define success. I'm going to let you guys roll with the intros, and then we go from there.
Yes, I will start first. Our first guest empowers women of all ages through strong role models in her stories, through writing events, publishing company, and the Women's Thriller Writing Association. She's proud of her published novels. She was told by many agents that they would have taken an adventure with a main female lead. But she's found a publisher, and she's glad to pass on roller derby skills. And I hope she talks more about that. She needs to. When she was 47 and still skating at 53. So our first guest is Sonja Dewing. I am happy to have her. Happy.
Hi, everybody.
I gotta admit, man, roller derby at 53, #life goals. Thank you, my friend.
I know, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just afraid to skate, period. Like,
regular skate
on the street. I'm like, I don't know how you do it. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about that more.
Yeah. Our second guest is a marketing and PR professional with 15 years of experience representing top-tier global brands. Okay, you did not edit this, Teresa. There's like 6 paragraphs of awesome here. She's also.
I told you. I gave up on it. I gave up. I was just going to read it.
She's also releasing her first children's book about sensory differences called Wiggles, Stomps, and Squeezes. Calm My Jitters Down. Oh my God. Okay. So anyway, we have some awesome people, but this is Lindsey Rowe Parker. Lindsey, get up here. Hey. No, seriously.
This is precisely why I said they're going to give out their praise at the end, because this stuff is long. And let me tell you, the next guest is even more awesome, because I didn't even send her whole bio. It is too damn long. I'm just going to break it down like this. She pretty much created herself. If you want to talk about somebody that was like, if I want to make shit happen, I'm going to make some shit happen. She has a social media reach of over 100,000 followers. She created Blush and Whimsy. If you got to experience the Whiskey Classic, that was her. But I got to meet her for the first time after she did running of the Chihuahuas. This woman loves Chihuahuas, but I mean, she is just, oh man, if there was somebody that I just model to be, I love her. I love her. Micaela Brown, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, because I went to her website. You could go there. You could go to her website. There's it's 8 pages of bio, and I was like, nah, that's too long. So,
all right. I got to kick this off here. So here's the question that as we're introducing you guys, seriously, y'all's fucking short bios are still books. Tell me about the confidence gap, even after we look at this and Lindsey, you're like, oh my God, no. Tell me about the confidence gap thing. Cause the three of you are fucking badasses.
Yep. Oh, you know what? We're going to start
Somebody
with Lindsey.
kick it off. Go.
She's the one that was do something scary every day. Here's your scary moment.
Are we talking about imposter syndrome? Is that what you're going for?
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've done a lot of pretty exciting things. And I've been really lucky to be successful in some of them. And I've not been successful in some of them. But like I said earlier to Teresa, when she asked me to do this, come on the show, this terrifies me. But a lot of time when something terrifies me, I just decide what's the worst that can happen? Just say yes to it. And so that has been, I wasn't like that when I was younger. As a young adult, I was definitely not like that. But now, as I'm getting older, I just decide to say yes to things, even though my immediate response is typically, ugh. And then I just go for it. So, I mean, definitely have some things that don't work out. But if you say yes to enough things, some of them are going to work out. And I feel like that's kind of where I'm at now, is that some of these things are coming to fruition and it's super exciting. And it looks like a lot, but there's a lot of, there's a lot of failed things in there too that are not in the bio. So,
well, I have to say, this is why I'm going to go to Micaela next, because when I asked her to be on the show, her response was, I'm not feeling real successful right now, which is why you needed to be on this show. So, I mean, what do you consider success?
Yes.
Well, success means I've got crazy amounts of cash flow, and I have people that are not contractors, but people who are full-time working for me. I have ongoing growth in every one of my businesses, projecting out 3 to 5 years, maybe.
So it all comes down to the financial side of it. But you haven't thought about the fact that you, as a woman who is taking the chance to face these challenges every day, and people see that as a strong role model, would that be considered success as well?
I've never been shy of sharing my story, whether it's been the highs, the lows, the in-betweens, I'm scared right now, I don't know what's happening, I'm driving for Grubhub. Well, I got hit by a drunk driver, so now I can't drive for Grubhub anymore. I've been very open and transparent, because everyone talks about entrepreneurship as this glorious, rosy thing, and it is. It's wonderful, it's beautiful. I can't see my life not doing it anymore. But one of my mentors told me that entrepreneurship is solving a problem, going into a problem, or just leaving a problem. That's it. Every day you're making some sort of decision, you're solving problems. And if you're not able to have that be your mindset, then you'll never make it as an entrepreneur. So at the moment, I am just finishing a problem, solving a problem, and working on my next problem.
So, all right. So,
I love it.
Sonja,
I love it.
what's something you know now that you didn't know at 23?
Oh my God.
Like,
Well, I think back when I was 23, I actually wrote a plan to start a business. But at the time, I didn't feel that I could start a business, like that was me. And it took me in my 40s to figure out I can be an entrepreneur, I can start my own business, I can do all these things. And I think because now I have all the resources and I know where they are and I know how to start things. And so that's one thing I've learned. You can do it.
I gotta say, like, I'm fascinated to hear from y'all on this, because to me, the success that I see in you guys is not the bottom line of any of your businesses. It's the fact that you're doing it and that you're continuing to do it and you're continuing to get after it and continuing to come on shows like this and talk about stuff like this. Like, that to me is what success at any age, what I take away from you guys on this.
Well, and
That's how I see it. Yep.
well, and I think that especially as entrepreneurs, success is defined day by day. Like, so for me, success was number one, publish a book or find someone to publish it. And number two, then it was, start a publishing company to help other authors. And then, so I feel like it moves.
Yeah.
It moves. So I have a question just based on that, because you talk about, I'm hearing a lot around being nimble, being flexible, right? So what advice would you give to people who want to move into the space where they're actually taking control of their future?
Where they're risking.
Where they're
Good
risking
question.
it. Yeah.
When I first started, I didn't know how much I could do. And I thought that I had to spend money hiring people to do things for me. And the biggest advice I would give is learn as much as possible. Push yourself as far as you can go. Learn digital advertising, social media, learn how to make your own website, learn how to do as much as possible. Use those Chrome extensions, do those tech integrations, figure out what technology exists to push you as far as you humanly can get. And that's when you spend money contracting out. New entrepreneurs spend way too much money on things that they shouldn't, instead of investing in their business and sorry, dog.
At the beginning, your business is them. Like, at the beginning of an entrepreneurial ship,
The investment is them, yes.
the investment is you.
Yeah.
Like, you're it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's interesting because a lot of people, when they hear entrepreneurship, there's almost a sense of it being not easy, but something that, once you put in a little time, like, it's going to grow exponentially. And what I found as a person who's tried to be an entrepreneur, and please, correct me if I'm wrong, is that it takes consistent, continuous, 100% effort to get things to continuously grow. It's not, hey, I'm going to put a little water on this and then I'm going to outsource it. It's a grind.
Yeah. It's not a destination. I feel like it's a continual path that you're always going to be on. And if you're looking to end up somewhere, I feel like that's kind of the wrong way to look at it, is that you might end up at your goal, but you need to have set more goals to keep going.
Right.
And I kind of want to build off of, I'm so sorry, I forgot your name and you're not popping up in it. Micaela, with something that is that don't wait until you feel like you're ready.
Yeah.
You just
You'll never be ready.
Launch. You're never going to feel ready. And you just got to just launch and learn on the fly or on the go. And
you should really be prepared to not sleep or cry in the shower a lot, or just, I remember first meeting up with Micaela, and we actually got into a conversation about, I just discovered I was dealing with anxiety, and she was too. And pretty much she's like, you run into any business owner, any entrepreneur, if they don't have anxiety, something's wrong. I mean, it is not for the, it's not for the weak at heart. I mean, it's if it was easy, everyone would do it.
So that's an interesting point. I would love to ask our guests this. So who is entrepreneurship not for?
Oh,
in your opinion?
It's definitely not for someone who wants to go, just work 9 to 5 and go home and go to bed and watch TV all night.
Yeah.
It's not for someone who wants to play all weekend. You basically have to work on your business every day until finally, hopefully, about 5 years out, your business suddenly grows. That's about the time that they say it takes to grow your audience, to grow your business, and to get to that point where you don't have to work all the time.
Mm-hmm. I say it's not for people who don't like to learn. If you are not constantly learning about the market, what's different, what's changing, what digital advertising, digital marketing is doing and changing, what new technology and apps and integrations that you can plug into your online store or into your digital marketing campaign, people who just want to make something and put it on a shelf and say, ta-da, I did the thing, now buy the thing. No, you have to be your own marketer.
Yep.
The biggest mistake I do, I'm a mentor at Arrowhead Innovation Center, the technology incubator and accelerator out of MSU. And every Friday I mentor these startups, and not one of them has learned anything about marketing. Not one. So I'm sitting there going, you make the thing, but how are people going to know how to buy the thing? You have to be an active marketer. You have to, especially your first 2 to 3 years. You can't afford to hire someone. You must be the expert on how to market your business. So it's not enough to just make it. So engineers and the software coding dudes who just go, I make the thing and now it's done. Entrepreneurship is not for you.
That's, I think, the biggest challenge of any business, starting any business, is that running the business is the task that we weren't trained for.
No, yeah, absolutely.
So I'm sitting with something that I got to put out there, and I just want to hear what you guys think about it, because it's more of a thought than a question. So for me, I guess what I want to do is I also want to expand the notion of what small businesses are and what entrepreneurship is. For me, my business, starting it, was about a business that would never exceed 15 hours a week. It was a business that I needed full-time income from those 15 hours because I'm a homemaker. And so for me, it was about giving up the notion that I had to, like every other startup that I'd ever done, because I've done several of them, where I worked 80-hour weeks and almost died from the whole thing. And so it was a weird shakeup for me to do that and to specifically design a limited business that still had very good income potential. Thoughts, like what? And also, I'm not making widgets. Like, maybe that's part of the problem.
Yeah. I mean, I have 2 little kids at home.
Yeah.
So I started my business knowing that I could not go into a 40-hour-a-week job. I just couldn't. Yeah. My daughter is also autistic, and so we had additional needs and supports that we needed, and it was not an option. And so that's kind of what started me on the path to starting my own business, because I never wanted to. I wanted the security of working for someone else.
Yep.
Because that meant that,
I wanted my W-2.
Yeah, you get your insurance and you get a solid paycheck, and it's the same amount every time. And that's what I always wanted. But my life didn't, it was not conducive to that anymore. And so I started my own business. I work at nap time and at nighttime. And
nap time.
And now that they're in school some days, so I do have some times that I get to work, but it's crazy. And another thing I just wanted to say is we talk about how much we have to grind for it, but if you don't ever allow yourself some breathing room and to just shut off just a little bit, you will burn out. And I had burnout. Right? Yep. So yes, you always have to keep moving towards your goals and hitting them and resetting them and keep on going. But if you don't take a moment, and I don't want to be like, oh, self-care, but really you need to take some time for yourself so you don't burn out and so you can keep going.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the things that needs to be pressed. One, that the idea that you have to succeed or you have to be somewhere by the age of 25 and or the fact that if you do take that moment to rest is a weakness, is stuff that has to be broken. I mean, yeah, I totally get it. The whole, like, you need to take time for yourself. Like, I was like, okay, and someone's at the door. But yeah, you need to take time for yourself and take that break. I think it's really important to always do that.
Yeah, I mean,
so here's
yeah, go
ahead, Royce.
Torian. No, you're up, man.
Wait, I'm like completely messing up our production now. Hold on a second. There we go. All right. So my question was around age, because you guys have talked a little bit about time frame or period or this destination. So how has age, if at all, played a role in how you're showing up in your definition of success?
When I first got started in entrepreneurship, I was government. My whole family are government. They don't know anything about entrepreneurship. So I've got doctors on one side and military on the other. Definition of success to them was getting a steady paycheck every 2 weeks. You get paid, you have medical, you have dental, you have vision. And you work 9 to 5, and then the evenings are yours. I don't understand that life anymore.
Oh,
When I first got started, for some reason, I thought that I had to do all of the things. So I had 2 companies. I was running 14 different brands, 27 social media accounts. I mean, I was just, I was out of control. And that's when I first met Sonja and Teresa. I was wearing burnout like a badge of honor. I'm not kidding. It was, oh, I'm so burnt out. I'm so tired. People would ask me how I was, and I was frazzled at every second of the day. I don't even know how I was able to continue and maintain health of any sort. Then it took right before COVID. One of my businesses was in events, running at the Chihuahuas, Dene on Block, Christmas. It took right before COVID for one of my businesses to start crashing and then not be able to recover, to then go, holy crap, I slept last night, to have my stress level just reduce. I mean, yes, I'm still running Blush and Whimsy, and I still have my consulting company. So yeah, I still have 2 gigs and some consulting clients in between, but I am now living life for me, for myself. And for me now, entrepreneurship, and I guess the definition of success is now building a life that I want to live for myself. Am I taking time to play with my puppies? Am I taking walks in the sunshine? Am I seeing my family? I'm in Austin right now because every Sunday I get to go hang out with my grandparents and help look after them and bring my Chihuahuas and have them love on my grandparents. Doing things that before I didn't make time for. It was a priority, but I just didn't say, this is important to me and this is the life that I want for myself. And entrepreneurship is beautiful. I want it to have legacy. I want it to have legs. Do I want an exit? Maybe. But the point is no longer to work myself to death just to say that I did and look how wonderful it is. That doesn't make any sense to me anymore. Now it's, does my company have the financials to get an investor to handle massive orders and fulfillment? Is my fulfillment on point? Is warehousing on point? Is my packaging fantastic? Am I on message? Am I on brand? Yes. And is that working? Great. And then what is my life like? Do I have time now to date and have relationships? Maybe. Before it wasn't even, I couldn't even compute. I didn't see my friends for 5 years, even though we all lived in the same town. So now there's so much more life.
And I think Micaela hit it on the head. Like, I see a lot of younger entrepreneurs killing themselves for their business and not taking breaks, not giving themselves time, not working out, not, I've learned, I go out, I spend time with my family, I go hiking, I go roller skating, so I work a lot. I know I have hopefully success in the future, but I'm not going to kill myself doing it.
Yeah, because what's the point of living then? Like that question rose for me in my 20s because I was in that phase of like, I'm gonna anything, success at any cost, and I was paying the cost. I was 100 pounds heavier. I was having heart pains every day. Like, I remember that shit. It was awful. 30s for me was about beginning to think that maybe I might matter. And the 40s, I'm like, oh, fuck this. I can say no to whatever the hell I want.
Oh, the power of no.
And
Oh,
this has become my definition of success. So this is the fun part to me about success at any age. Like, I don't know, because the younger, like my kids, they're so different than I think we're all roughly the same generation. They're in therapy already. I wasn't in therapy till I was in my 30s. You know, they're working this shit out, and the craziness of my shit that was driving that back when I was 20 was totally unexamined. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I viewed my 20s as I need to gather as much experience as possible. So I jumped around to every job imaginable. I went and studied abroad. My 30s was for kind of fine-tuning all the things that I loved, kind of taking this broad knowledge and starting to fine-tune it. And then I started launching entrepreneurial initiatives when I was 33. So I kind of feel like when I was in my 30s, I finally had enough knowledge that I could go, oh, I'll pull from this, pull from here, pull from that, and I'll ask this person and create this thing. You know, it was a good mix of experience and knowledge and who to talk to get to the next level.
Mm-hmm. I was crazy in my 20s, so I didn't do really anything.
Tell us more. Tell us more, Lindsey. You have a story that you would like to share.
Yes.
On the other episode. No, but I feel like it took outside influences for me, and it took me not being able to do the job that I was doing, which was working in-house at a global nonprofit, which I loved. And that was my like grand goal, and I hit it. And so after that, and not being able to do that anymore, I was like, well, that was my goal. You know, I'm 35 now. What? So I made new goals, and I really appreciate those experiences leading up to that, because I feel like they all built on each other, and put me in a position to know what I wanted after that. And I think age came into play is because I was not confident at all as a young person, as a young adult. And I don't know when it happened, but it definitely did happen that I did gain some confidence, and I can't pinpoint it, but I appreciate it and I recognize it.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that, because we're in a very uncertain time right now, just as human beings, the whole globe. And so I'm curious.
The lie of security has been exposed.
Oh, for sure, across the board. Like in any aspect of our life that is being challenged, if not gone, somewhere within that spectrum. And so my question for you all is, especially since the core of this show is about vulnerability, how do you manage being vulnerable in a state like right now? When I say vulnerability, not just from a financial and business standpoint, but the emotional and spiritual challenges that go along with it in the current context that we're in right now.
Can I say something?
Yes, you can. What are you talking about?
Because it actually it led to me having contact with Micaela because of this. When COVID hit, I've always been a person that if I was going to do anything, I was going to do it. I just didn't care. There was no thought. It was just like, I'm going to do it and I'll figure it out later. I was going to be committed to make it happen. So when COVID hit, Lindsey and I actually were in the process of doing an event for St. Patrick's Day. We had it all set. We were doing Boondock Saints. The director and actor from the show were coming out. And then we got notification about this COVID thing. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And then an article came out about the governor saying that events with over 100, that were 100 or more couldn't be done. And I'm like, the heck they can't. We're doing one. So that doesn't, I don't know what she's talking about. My mind didn't comprehend everything that was happening. And as everything, I went from having an income to having that income slashed by like 65% happen in a month, if not less. And I remember messaging Micaela. It was checking up on me, and I told her I don't know what to do. I've never been in this space. I've never been in a space where I can't have control of what happens with my business. Like, I don't know what to do. And I was upset that I had to close the office. I was now at that point. And she went and told me, she said, Teresa, your business is not a building. Your business can go anywhere. So you need to remember that. Like, you are your business. You can make this happen. And it was that moment of just having somebody there to tell me that, you know, I had that vulnerable moment and it was okay to have it and just know that I would make it through it. I think vulnerability is an important thing to have. I think it's that moment that you realize you're human. Many people look at you as superwoman when you do things, and you're seen as this role model. And sometimes perception gets to a point that you want to play that role for everyone all the time, and you kind of forget, like, oh man, I need to take a moment for myself and like cry, or no, this shit is real and it's horrible and I'm falling apart. So I mean, I've had moments with all three of these women that happened. So oh goodness, if you don't have I can't even imagine now realizing, because in my 20s I thought vulnerability was such a weakness and you couldn't show it, and it wasn't until I got into my 40s that I was like, wow, I did such a disservice to make it seem like that was something that all women or anybody that running a business should feel like that's a bad thing.
Well, I know when COVID hit, I was kind of broken because, you know, I'm trying to write book 3 of my series and I could not write. I think it took me like 3 months just to get off the couch and stop, you know, binging on Netflix and, you know, buying Grubhub every meal, you know. So I feel like I was able to finally recover, just getting to see some friends, and I adopted a dog and I started getting back to exercising again. And it's just like, yeah, I'm sure this took a lot out of a lot of people.
Yeah. So here's a question for you. What's a connection that you feel like was that you made either with somebody or an organization or whatever, a connection that you made specifically when you were scared to death and you were vulnerable about something personal in your work life?
So last year in January, I had facial surgery stuff. Immediately following that, COVID hit. My business also, I was down 75% by beginning of February, middle of February, just from my online sales started tanking. And then of course my events business died. And then in March, I started driving for Grubhub, and I told everybody, because again, that sort of perception of, oh, Micaela, you've done the Oscars twice, you've done the Grammys twice, you've done all these things, so clearly you have all this cash. No, when you're in rapid growth, you have no cash. There is nothing. And when your sales tank, right, when you're in the middle of that rapid growth, so I let everyone know. I mean, I've got a pretty decent social media following, and I let everybody know, listen, my sales are down. I can't count on government grants and support and stuff because my business is not big enough to get all this help. So I started driving for Grubhub. My first week of Grubhub, I was hit by a drunk driver and my car was totaled. So, and then when I finally got well enough to even try driving again, I walked into a restaurant that had just been robbed at gunpoint. So I decided, things are very unsafe for me right now. And I felt inspired to just tell people what was going on and that I needed help. I needed help. I needed some way to bring in some money. And it didn't even cross my mind to start my consulting business until I started getting all of these messages from people saying, hey, how about you join my marketing agency as our digital advertiser? How about you do some marketing consulting? And so suddenly I started getting all these clients. I was running some companies in Switzerland, one in London, one in Chicago, one in Florida, one in Taos. And suddenly opportunities were coming to me, all because I told people, look, I'm just trying to keep my business alive. What should I do? And it opened up this world that it didn't hit me that I had access to.
Yeah.
even though I'd
And a
already
set
been
of
doing it.
skills that you had learned through blood, sweat, and tears over
Yeah.
the previous years of entrepreneurship that you didn't think of as your business, but now become a cornerstone for a time, for whatever. I mean, maybe it's what you end up doing permanently, but whatever. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Mhm.
Oh,
So that's what's
Torian's
kept me
calling me.
afloat. Sorry, puppies.
Puppy. Also, I want to point out Vincent, our guest from last week, Dr. Gaddis, popped up and said, "What's up, people? We got to give him a shout out."
What's going on, man?
So we're wrapping. What's the last word, y'all? What's the last word?
And this is the part where you guys are going to boast about all the stuff you do. And what's
That too.
just let you know, that's what's happening.
Talk about all your awesomeness and all of your goodness.
Heck yeah. We're not starting with Micaela. Okay.
He's doing puppies. Like,
I don't want to do it.
All right, Sonja, you go first.
Boom.
All right. Well, so I write adventure novels. I write novels, or I write books about how to write novels. So if anyone's interested in checking out an adventure novel with a female lead character, you can go to sonjadewing.com. And my first novel is Toy the Gods. And it is a series. There's a third book coming out, hopefully this month, because I'm working on it.
Yay.
And yeah. Oh, and if anyone's looking for books with strong female leads or female characters, plotduckies.com is my publishing company.
woo!
Very
nice.
cool.
Love it. Love it. Lindsey, you ready to rock and roll?
Yes, sure, I'll go. The thing I'm most proud of right now is that I am releasing a book, a children's book about sensory differences. It's called Wiggle, Stomps, and Squeezes, Calm My Jitters Down, and it's a look at a child's day who has heightened sensory experiences, and it is based off the experiences I have with my autistic daughter. And then also I learned in this past 2 years that I also am ADHD, which I didn't know growing up, but it makes so much more sense now. And some of those sensory differences and preferences that I had as a kid. And it is releasing in April for Autism Awareness Month. Yay! So it's my passion project, and it's my baby.
And thank you also for calling it sensory differences and for mentioning the ADHD connection, because that's something that I've only begun to read about and is absolutely part of my spectrum. But when we hear sensory differences, a lot of people go right to autism, but it's not that. There are a million reasons why people have sensory differences. It's again just a way that we have to relate to human beings instead of human generalizations. So thank you for the way you're approaching that. It's awesome.
Thank you.
All right, Micaela, you up.
Okay, so the things that I'm proud of are, number one, I've been able to keep Blush and Whimsy alive. That's my cosmetics company. I have new product lines coming out. I'm opening a new warehouse and fulfillment center here in Austin in the next month and a half, 2 months. And I've got a whole line of skincare coming out. And then on the consulting side of things are exciting. I mean, there are so many people starting entrepreneurship initiatives now, e-com stuff. And so I'm busy doing those and helping people achieve their dreams too. So if you want to follow me either on blushwhimsy.com or micaelabrown.com. And I have puppies. So my puppies are always on my social media.
And puppies!
Well, I just really want to thank you all just for sharing and just being in this space right now. I mean, this is an important day. This is an important week.
Yeah.
2020 was an important / stressful, a lot of different emotions that go along with it. So just to be able to come together and hold this hour or so with you all has been great. And we invite all of you all back to the show because there's so many things that we can talk about and dig into, especially when we talk about champion vulnerability as a core human strength. So thank you all for sharing this space with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, so we're gonna.
You were gonna have fun with them. I told you.
Yay!
You were right. Well, of course. I mean, do I need to say you were right? Of course you were right. Does it feel good to hear it, I guess?
Exactly.
But that was really good though. I mean, I wish we had more time. I think we should probably circle back on a lot of this because
Oh,
there's
absolutely.
so many things we could dig into.
Yeah, the
Yep.
number of
Comes to
angles
success
with
in
that.
any age.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, okay, so y'all, I got to point out this shirt was a Christmas shirt, so thank you to Sarah. Hold on, let me overthink this. Yes, but it also, like, I wore it deliberately today because to me that's one of the things that I've learned how to circumvent more and more the older I get. Is I'm the master at overthinking shit, but also just like risking, and risk is a part of vulnerability. Like when you talk about that as a core human strength. It shows up so much in how we do entrepreneurship because connecting with other human beings requires vulnerability, and that's something that they won't teach you in your business school, at least any business school I've ever talked to. They just don't teach that. That it's connecting with other human beings, and that requires not this made up image of success. It requires authenticity and connection, and that's fucking magical shit.
Absolutely. Yes.
So yeah.
I was like, oh my God, the risk part is like, oh my God, it's such hard. When I hear people that are just like, well, I want to start my own business, but I don't know. It just seems like it's just so risky. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what,
well, that's why it's exciting, buddy.
It is.
It's like, I mean, it's the same thing about like, well, I'm afraid I'm going to fail. So why do it? And I was like, because that's part of life. That's how you learn. That's how you thrive. You're going to, oh my goodness. My goodness!
Well, and
he makes this look good.
Oh,
I know, right?
Whatever, man. but one of the things that it's like, what is the risk of a life unfulfilled though? That's always my question to people. And I do have some stories, and I'm not going to necessarily share it right here, but I've been blessed with the opportunity to spend time with 4 people that were dying of cancer. One I was related to. There was a person who we used to work together. A really good friend of mine from high school. And when I share this story, when I'm speaking to crowds or speaking to executives, it's always the same, which is these are 4 people from 4 aspects of my life that were very different backgrounds, different socioeconomics and everything. But their verbiage to me was just about the same. It was, I wish I would have taken more chances. It's, I wish I would have articulated and expressed myself when I had the opportunity to do so. I wish I would have traveled and experienced and seen more of the world. So why not take this knowledge that we know is going to be important to all human beings when we're at a certain point in our life and try to apply it right now? That's always one of the things that I try to talk to people about.
Nobody's going to end their life by saying, geez, I wish I laid more on that couch. I mean, you never hear people say that. I mean, goodness, I couldn't imagine. Yeah, I made lots of mistakes. I've had so many failures, but I am just like, I couldn't imagine not trying, not taking that chance. I couldn't imagine it.
Yes.
And I also, like, the other thing that I would point out to, so I've sat with, like, as a chaplain, as a minister, and like as a human who, because I was those things, I end up in these spaces a lot, probably hundreds at this point of folks who are in death or near death. And yeah, every single one of them has said something along the lines of what you guys have just said.
Yeah.
Not a single one of them said, I wish I'd worked more.
Yeah. Especially when it was for someone else. I'm just
saying. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm just saying, not a jab for people who are working for others, but
no. But if your work is your joy, and that's one of the problems too, is we get caught up in that. Well, I enjoy my work, so it's okay to overwork. No, it's not. It's okay to enjoy your job. You don't get a badge for hating it. There's no achievement get. So yeah, I guess that's my takeaway from today, is just being reinforced on that notion of literally not a single person said, I wish I'd spent more time. I'm gonna say it, more time on the plantation.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Man, that's a whole nother show, bro.
That's a whole nother show.
But
should have said that.
I don't think I have permission to say
You're
that.
good. It's too late now. It's already out there. It's okay.
It's out there.
Okay.
It's out there. You can't change. You can't bring it back.
We got to close. We said after y'all.
But with that, we definitely want to again circle back all of our listeners, our supporters, those people. We still have 30 people online viewing us. Thank you so much. please make sure that we share. What were you going to say, Royce?
Oh, since Iris is she another one of our guests?
Oh, Sonja's there? There she is. Saying, what's up?
So glad you made it in today, my friend.
Yes. Always good to hear from
She was last couple of weeks ago. She's like, where the hell's the show? So, yes.
Yeah, thank you everybody for the support. And remember, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button for all upcoming episodes.
That's right. And with that, we out. Peace out.